Snap, crackle, pop. Hey guys, I'm here with Greg White, and yeah, we're going to be talking again about vaccines. He reached out to me because he wanted to talk about his personal experience, and I'm going to start interviewing more people talking about their own personal experience because people, say that anecdotes don't matter, but that's bullshit because we do have the science on our side, but also when you see a person and you can determine that they're sincere in their testimony and what happened to them and that they're not getting anything out of it, all they want really is just to warn other people so it doesn't happen to them. People connect to that. So yeah. So hey Greg, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on? I'm enjoying this beautiful Texas Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Out.
Huh?
My God, it's beautiful out.
Finally, right? It was freaking crazy cold, and then it was rainy and muggy. It was playing with us, and now it's finally. And I got a bunch of errands to do today. I have to do laundry and stuff after this. Not
I want to
yeah.
later on and do some barbecuing.
Oh, don't make me jealous. That's awful. You got a barbecue brisket? I like brisket.
Put some steaks on today.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. Enjoy the day after we're done. That's gonna be it is a nice day out today, so no complaining. Anyway, we were talking about vaccines. So, what is your experience? Where do you want to start with? Why do you question the safety and efficacy of vaccines?
Well, let's just talk about like my anecdote, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got diagnosed with MS a couple years ago. Well, more than a couple years ago, about 12. And no one in my family, no one in my gene pool, no one's ever had MS. Nothing like it, And it really made me question why I was diagnosed with this. I was given spinal taps and they came back clear. I don't have whatever virus they're looking for. And it just started making me think back to all the shit that they were shooting me up with in the Army, Before I went to Iraq, we had to get like 6 rounds of the anthrax vaccine.
Oh my God.
Smallpox vaccine, flu vaccine, and a couple others I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But dude, we were like treated like guinea pigs, and we're also given like these malaria pills.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm all like, oh no. I just know the effects of those malaria pills. One of the side effects is schizophrenia. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, I had a friend. Sorry, I just wanted to tell you, just put that out there. I had a friend that was gonna go. I forgot she was gonna go somewhere, and she found that out, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna skip the malaria pills." Yeah. Anyway, go on. Did you feel what was your state at the time that you were getting these vaccines? Were you wary then, or you just like whatever, just do it?
9/11 just happened.
Oh wait, hold on one second. I'm having sound issues because you're fading. You're fading out. And I heard hissing.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, but now there's a big old like. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So back in 2003, right before the war started with Iraq, and if you can remember with the state of mind with everybody, we were all like patriotic. We're fuck yeah, I want to go fight for my country,
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the time, we didn't know much about the vaccines, like how bad they were for you. Just maybe a couple little rumors here and there where people would question it, but it wasn't really talked about, or were we trained or given knowledge on, like, yo, this shit ain't been tested. It's going to fuck you up in 30 years, 10, 20 years, whatever, But yeah, there was that report you sent me from that Dr. Nicholson guy. I forget his name, Theodore Nicholson or whatever.
Oh yeah, April sent that. The one April sent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an amazing report, and that also like sheds a lot of light to like the validity of, not one vaccine can cause autism as a child, but maybe it's a culmination of a few different vaccines. All that trauma that kids, neurological systems going through at once, can't handle it.
And even to add to that, if the mother was vaccinated while she was pregnant, that can add to that. You know what I mean? So maybe the baby, she gets vaccinated while she's pregnant, and then they're affected that way, and then they get the Hep B when they're born. You
Yeah,
know?
that's crazy how mothers get vaccinated now while pregnant. Like, I'm pretty sure when I was a kid that was taboo, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And the inserts say that they don't test for the ability to impair fertility. And I think I'll put this in the notes. There's a lady named by the name of Marcella Piper Terry who's the owner of Vax Truth. That's the VAX Truth, because there's a VAX and a VAC Truth. They're both, talk about, they criticize vaccines. But somebody sent her, she did a video where somebody sent her insurance records. She crossed the people's names off, and she made a correlation that their baby died of SIDS directly after they got a vaccine.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I would get the anthrax vaccine, like I said, there were 6 rounds in total you had to go through. And each time when you would get it, the very next day, you would feel like you had the worst Charlie horse in your leg,
Oh, wow.
and it just burned really bad. And like, I remember getting the flu. Sometimes you would get flu-like symptoms. Not everybody got it, but I did. And maybe that had led to the credence of me now getting diagnosed with MS years later after I get out of the army.
Did with the Charlie horse, so was that expected? Where they're just like, hey, you're gonna get the shot, you're gonna get a Charlie horse, suck it up, take some pain pills, kind of deal?
Yeah, pretty much. Didn't say anything about taking no pain pills, but just suck it up. You want to go fight for your country, don't you? Don't question this.
Damn,
Yeah.
damn, wow. Um, so you had 6 rounds of anthrax. How many times did you go? Like every 3 months, every week, like every few weeks, like?
I don't quite remember. At first, it was once every couple of weeks, I think, 2 or 3 weeks in between. I remember getting 6 rounds within a 6-month period, I think.
Wow, it's like once a month.
And that's just the anthrax vaccine. Now, you also had to get the smallpox. You also had to get the flu vaccine. Um, and I think we all got tetanus shots. Yeah, they load you up pretty hardcore in the army. Well, in all branches, I think they do that.
Did you do the shot thing where they put them on like a gun, or did you line up, go to station to
No,
station?
no, they haven't used those pneumatic ones since the '90s.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not that
So they're called
scary.
pneumatic. They're called pneumatic ones.
Well, I don't know what they're called. It's like a pneumatic gun where they have like 5 vaccines in one fucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
God.
yeah. No, they haven't
Jeez.
at least.
Were you ever deployed?
Yeah, I went to Iraq in
Oh
'03.
yeah, duh. I'm tripping. Sorry. So I'm sorry. So what was your experience like there? Were you excited to go there? Like what was in your head when you were like deployed and you were
Well,
going there and
old kid, and keep in mind 9/11 just happened, so I was a patriot. I've always been a patriot, but at that young age, being able to be a patriot and legit go do something, fight for your country. So I thought, I didn't question nothing. I believed the official story of 9/11. I knew we were there to get the bad guys, and that was that.
wow. You were in like 19?
Yeah, 19 and 20. I was there for the whole first year of the war.
So what was Iraq like? What I'm gonna ask you a little bit about that. I'm gonna talk about vaccines. I'm curious as to what like
Well, it was hot in the day.
was it deserty? Was it
Yeah.
city? Was it all desert? Was it like
Well, in the beginning, it was we had these sandstorms that come in, and it was blind. You couldn't see more than 10, 20 feet in front of you.
oh wow.
Um, But yeah, throughout the summer, that was the spring. But come the summer, come August, it was unbearable. 125 degrees outside in the shade. You know, it
Jeez.
was just hot to fight. But I like I said, I felt very like I supported the cause of my cause, being there, doing what I've done. I was there to be there. I was a young kid, and I felt like I was doing the right thing. So back then too, oh yeah, we were also like breathing in all this stuff called depleted uranium. We got exposed to quite a bit out there, and you'll hear stories about it, like the local population, the children out there in Iraq, they're being born with like fucking 3 arms and shit. You know, it gets into your DNA and it really screws up, your offspring, which makes me scared to have kids.
Wow.
But yeah,
Did
they're
you did
they're
you
looking.
have did you feel the like immediate effects of breathing it in? Like because you're around there, did you get sick like kind of right away, or is just something that you breathe in and it damages your DNA and you don't know about until later?
Yeah, it's something you don't know about till years later. In my case, it was like 3 years after I had gotten out of the army is when I had gotten sick and I had came down with MS. Or what they diagnosed me as with MS.
Yeah.
Be a culmination of the vaccines, which I really do believe that's what I think it is a culmination of vaccines, or it could be the depleted uranium or the burn. We did a lot of that shit out there. We
Or,
had a
wait, what was
we
the last thing you said? Did you faint it out? The burn what?
the burn pits.
What is that?
Well, we had to burn our own trash and our own, our feces, like our own outhouses.
Okay.
When you take a shit and a piss, it'd be in a big ass 55-gallon drum. And at the end of the day, you take it outside, you fill it up with gas, and you burned it.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably, you know what, I think what I was talking to somebody about this earlier. I think vaccines suppress the immune system, so it's like a trigger, right? So
Yeah,
even if you around that stuff, if you didn't have vaccines, you'd have a better chance of fighting it off or healing from it. So it's
yeah,
probably a culmination of all those things. But I know people that have been diagnosed with MS just from vaccines and not even been in war, and then even with the anthrax vaccine, that's why you were like 6 rounds. I was like, oh my god, the squalene in it has been. I mean, all the chemicals in the vaccines, but I think each vaccine also has their kind of own like major demon that like really triggers things. And for the anthrax vaccines, for my research, it's the squalene
yeah,
that really fucks people up. Because there were a lot of people that weren't deployed that got MS and got sick too. They weren't around. They didn't have to do the burn pits, and they didn't have to. They weren't around the depleted uranium. So
yeah.
you know,
And actually, like, even more anecdotally, I think about my nephew. When he was like 18 months old, he was fine. He gets a whole round of MMR shots and what else I forget, but next thing you know, he's got autism. And
yeah,
is where I grew up as a kid, the girl across the street from me, her kid got autism. Another girl 2 houses down from me got autism. Another chick, she lives around the corner, her kid's got autism. It's like popping up everywhere.
yeah. I know, and then we're, huh?
At such an alarming rate too, because it's, I don't know, you don't. This many kids with mental disabilities did not exist back in the 80s. You know,
Yeah.
this number of them.
Yeah, and it's funny, we like hear the word anecdotal, and people say stuff like, "Oh, well, that's just anecdotal," like they brush it off, like doesn't mean anything.
Still to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. For me too. I'm just like, but let me get this. You talk about like people in third world countries, because this is something that's happening around the world. It's not just in America. It's not just in the Western world. People are criticizing and refusing vaccines all over, and they're there being children that are damaged in like Africa, for instance, right? And
Yeah.
they can't read. They're not asking for studies. They're like, oh, like they know if, like, their child is, fine, and then they get a vaccine and they're not walking or they can't talk.
Vaccines haven't even had a proper safety study in 30 years, you know.
Well, no, they really haven't had a proper safety study ever. Technically, I know you're referring to probably the HSS lawsuit, what happened, but
The long-term study, yeah,
yeah,
you
but
know.
they've never done long-term studies. The two vaccines that they did study, they used another vaccine, chemical filled vaccine for the placebo. They didn't use like just plain old saline, and they haven't done an unvaccinated versus unvaccinated or double-blind randomized placebo control study. And then the manufacturers even say that it's not tested for the ability to cause cancer, mutagenesis, and to mutate your genes and to impair fertility. And then on top of that, you look at just the insert sheets, and everything that everybody's coming down with are side effects from the vaccine. MS is one of them.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I know a bunch of other people who I've served with who are coming down with other like autoimmune diseases, and people coming down with ALS, shit like that. And you can't help but think, it's number one, this is definitely eugenics being played upon the U.S. population.
Yeah.
And its test subjects are those who are willing to be test subjects, And for that, it's like the military, young soldiers, kids who are just blindly following orders and not questioning anything. And that was my case. And I'm sticking to that,
Yeah, no, but it's true, and it's sad, and it's I think I said this when we talked off air, that the military, orphans, homeless people in insane asylums, and prisoners are like the most eagerly people, or most not eager, but this is what they like to experiment on, right? The groups of people that they like, because military people, like, they're very eager, and they just kind of sign away their rights. Orphans don't have anybody to vouch for them. People in insane asylums and prisons and homeless that are homeless, people don't really care about them because they don't have people. Huh?
The easily forgotten part of the population.
Yeah, exactly. That's, you put it perfectly. Plus, but we all still are, even if you're not in those groups of people, we're still part of this grand experiment, this human experimentation that they're doing. And it's like, there's a theory that this lady wrote named Christina England, and she kind of breaks it down perfectly. Have you ever read Brave New World?
I've seen the movie. I haven't read the book.
Okay, you don't have to read the book, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Like the alphas and the epsilons and the deltas, right? Yeah, she's like, she basically talks about how they're creating, if you want to go dark and deep down the rabbit hole, they're creating delta slaves, because some of the high functioning autistic people can be very useful to these people. For instance, but by the way, though, they still have lots of social problems. They have a high suicide rate. They still have gastrointestinal issues. So just because you can do like super math or like Rain Man, like
girls too.
My
nephew, he's got autism. I watch him, and he's a pretty big kid for his age, but there's no way in hell he can perform a school shooting carrying in with him like.
Oh, totally. Okay, well, hold that thought, because we'll talk about Sandy Hook too, because I just want to.
It never happened. Sandy Hook was a lie.
Well, okay. So let me just finish this, if we can go back to that. But I was saying, like, she's talking about so high functioning people. They're very like repetitive. They like, they don't question things. They don't go outside the box. So if you hire a population of people like that, they're not going to organize. They're not going to complain if you pay them low wages. They're not going to question anything that you have them to do. Yet they have a super capacity for remembering things and memorizing, regurgitating information. It's like they're, you know what I mean? And I think it's ironic that Bill Gates is pushing vaccines, yet he's hiring these people. But he's
like extremely critical thinking.
Huh?
It makes you very left-brained. You're extremely critical thinking.
No, but yeah, in very left brain, not critical, because I think critical is kind of more whole brain thinking, but it makes you, it kind of makes you like a robot though, right? You don't have the emotional side. That's what you're saying,
Yeah,
right? It's pushing you in your
yeah.
left. Yeah. So
You're a direct A to B. You don't kind of like go outside the lines.
yeah, you're like a robot basically, right? You're so these people are being manipulated to be these kind of delta slaves. So this is what she breaks down. I'm just making notes. I try and put things in the notes when I talk about them. But anyway, going back to Sandy Hook, that was my first
Candy book.
candy book. Candy book. That was my first, when I first was watching like the news coverage and they were like, oh, it's this autistic, and I was like, I just work with autistic children. I know that's like not possible.
Yeah,
that's not possible. Really?
Yeah, it was a whole Sandy Hook thing because I used to be a firefighter back in the day, and an EMT, and I remember like we would take part in these things called MCI drills, mass casualty incident drills, and that's exactly what Sandy Hook looked like to me, a mass casualty training exercise, and it was an exercise where, hey, if you're filming it from a news helicopter, it looks pretty fucking real. Let's just say it's real then,
Yeah.
You see a bunch of kids outside of this condemned school, this school that's been condemned for years, okay, running around in circles, the same kids over and over again. Everything was being choreographed.
Like a loop. They were on a loop, yeah.
Yeah.
And we have that one picture of the 4 kids. That's all we have.
If that was a school shooting, how come there was not one trauma evac helicopter dispatched? Not one. At Columbine, yeah, you could tell Columbine was a real school shooting because there was like 55 helicopters like coming in and out of that school the whole day. Sandy Hook, no, just news reporting. Come on. Yeah. Just news helicopters. Those were the only ones there over the situation. Come on. Release the sheriff's dash cam footage. I want to see that. That guy, Wolfgang Halbig, he's filed so many FOIA requests, and he hits nothing but like brick walls. Like, the township strip won't give him what he's been requesting.
Well, yeah, but even I didn't go that deep, but just a few things that I found out, I was just like, there's like, I will say maybe they killed some people, okay? Because I wasn't there, and I'm just doing that.
I don't think no one died.
You don't think no one died?
I think the only one who died in that area were the people who started talking.
Yeah, that's true. But that what pisses me off, it's our right to think that. And if the news media didn't do such a shoddy job, then people wouldn't be questioning and saying that nobody died.
Don't you think it's ironic how every single police officer won the lottery that year?
What? No, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, every single cop got like $100,000 or $150K.
Well,
every single house in that neighborhood was
paid.
Bought.
I know that.
Off.
Yeah. So they basically bribed the town to go along with the story. It seems like.
Well, think about this. If I ain't gonna lie. I'll be straight up. I'm gonna be honest with you. If the government gave me $150,000 to say this happened when it really didn't, I would question my morals. I really would. I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you. Now you add the threat of if you go outside the script, you're gonna end up fucking dead. There's incentive to go along with it.
Yeah, no, I that makes perfect sense though, and it's like, especially too, you have MS. Like how like are you gonna, you know what I mean? Like you need the money. This is another reason too why they want people sick, because they're easily compromised. You know what I mean? So
they can bully Alex Jones into saying whatever because he's responsible for people's jobs,
Yeah.
But not me. I'm just an average citizen. You can't do shit for me. I ain't got nothing. So what you gonna take from me?
Yeah, totally. I'm just like, I'm the same way. I'm just like, this is some bullshit. But I mean, like I will stand this. I'm also just because I've done a lot of research into other things, so I know when I've only done a certain amount of research on something, I'll be humble. I'm just like, well, I only know a little bit about this. I'm not going to like challenge anybody or debate anybody. But just those things you mentioned there are reason to give people a reason to question. And what pisses me off is like the news media is just like, oh well, you believe in conspiracy theories, and I was like, fuck you,
You're
fuck
goddamn right
you.
I do. You goddamn right I
Yeah,
do.
like we're not supposed to question things. Are you serious? Like I just don't. Um, it just makes me so mad, especially when they're the ones that are lying all the
Yeah,
time.
I know.
And then they're
Should I really?
gaslighting us. They're trying to make us feel
Yeah.
guilty for asking simple questions and making simple observations,
Yeah.
and making us out to be crazy when they're the ones that are crazy and evil. Get the fuck
Yeah,
out of
you keep
here.
thanking us. We're doing your job for you.
I know, right? Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, so
Where's my
that's
Pulitzer Prize?
yeah, right? And it's funny because the thing is, people that like I look at like this whole like the internet and humanity and everything is pieces to the puzzle. So we all also have little tidbits of information to offer depending on our jobs, our roles in society. Like I didn't know, like I'm not a firefighter, so I wouldn't know that that's you did those type of drills and that's what they look like. So you being a firefighter, you're going to make that observation. You're going to see something that I don't see or I didn't think about, like trauma helicopters not being
Yeah, it
dispatched.
was a training exercise. That's all it was. It was a training exercise, and it looked real from the perspective of a news helicopter. So let's just say it's real.
So then
That's
you
why
have
it's so
that.
taboo. That's why it's so taboo. Don't question the narrative, especially with Sandy Hook. Oh my God, these children died. Fucking prove it. I doubt that. I want to see the bodies.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I want to see the police reports.
I want to see
You know,
people not doing breathing exercises when they're parents and they come and talk on. You
yeah.
saw that, right? The guy that was just like, you can say that
That
people
Parker
grieve.
guy.
Yeah, you can say that people. So this is the thing too with that. You can say that people grieve differently, but he wasn't like, and I'm not saying that he had to be bawling and stuff, but he was playing around and joking, and then when the cameras got on him, he was doing breathing exercises. And the
Yeah.
fact is that somebody caught him doing that before he went on. So CNN
How
didn't
the
show
same
that part.
people that show up there then at the Boston bombing, the same people show up there and
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So what? Like there were
yeah,
other people that were at the Boston bombing too. The same.
and a lot of them were playing the same roles. Yeah, like a lot of the fat cops there were playing the same role as the typical local fat cop. You know.
So obviously they work in Connecticut and Boston, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
It's just like, but I'm just saying. I believe you. I'm just saying, like, why would the same policeman show up in another city? You know what I mean? What did they have to stay in that police department in
no, I couldn't
Connecticut?
tell you if that was real police officers or not. You know, they could have been actors just playing the role of a police officer.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but even if they were real police officers, you know what I'm saying? And you can say, oh, I'm just saying, I'm giving the other side saying, oh, even if they were,
Right.
yeah, I know you're saying they're actors, right? But I'm saying even if they were real police officers, what would they be doing in another
Yeah.
state?
What's your excuse for being there?
Yeah, like it's just all these just anomalies. And then what else was weird?
They're getting sloppy with the false flags. You know.
Well, they're getting sloppy too because we also have the internet. You know what I mean? Like there was a time we weren't able to show these things. And why are they scrubbing stuff off the internet? And my friend was talking about this interview that she saw that we can't find anywhere. If somebody can find it, please let me know. But they interviewed a friend of the mom, and the guy was talking about how it was impossible for him. He wasn't even that good at guns, so he doesn't even
Yeah,
think
I
he
want to
didn't even
know.
think that the kid did it. And then the mom conveniently was killed, but they just probably killed both of them and just blamed it on him.
I want to know why all this video needs to be classified. Why can't the public see it? You know, what's going to happen when we do? That's what they're afraid of. Is like us saying, oh well, you know what? We were right. It was a bullshit MCI event. You know, it was a drill. You know, this wasn't no school shooting, and now the public's going to be pretty pissed off and outraged. So even
Like losing the trust, and they're losing control. They're already losing trust and control, but this is the thing.
that's why the false flags keep happening more and more and more often because. But by the time you can like take apart this one, okay, a new shooting just happened, so everyone
Yeah.
focus over here.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I just don't. Did you watch the deposition?
For
Oh, the
what
Alex
the?
Jones deposition.
No, I've seen parts of it. Yeah, they're bullying that guy. Like they got him up against a wall. I feel bad for him.
Yeah, I do. I do too. But they're trying. I bet you that's probably going to be the test case of how they're going to try and stop people from talking about conspiracies on internet. And they also have like a I saw this stupid ass article that was, oh, my mic fell. That was saying that, oh, like a new study shows that we found a way to stop people from believing in conspiracy theories. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious? How about don't lie? How about that? How about don't lie and
Yeah,
make shit up, and then we'll stop believing in conspiracy theories.
stop
We need to
doing
tell
this
the
shit.
truth, you know?
Why does the news have to be a competition? Really, I think like
Yeah,
tell me
exactly.
not be competitive or your version of the truth. Whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, well, because they want, but these are all things they want control. They want people. Why does history have to be competitive? Competitive too. Like there's, and have a like all these things. I think should be free market of thought, like science and history. But even with vaccines, going back to that, they're saying the science is settled, and but there should be different people coming out and having different theories, and they shouldn't. They should be welcomed, and they should be, they should we all sides should be presented to the public and let the public decide. But no, it has to be one way, one narrative. History also is very diverse and they're very different perspective. Why does there have to be one side to history? Why can't people just put their different perspectives out there and let people kind of make up for their own decision? I mean, it's just.
Here's a quote that I'm reminded of. It's 1984 was a warning, not a instruction manual.
Oh, totally, totally. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. Brave New World is the same way.
Yeah, I think we're closer to Brave New. Well, I don't
Think about
know.
like so many people I know as well that are on prescription antidepressants, Zoloft or some kind of Seroquel or whatever. It's prescribed so much right now. It makes me think of how Ritalin was overprescribed to kids back in the 90s.
Yeah, yeah.
And the whole reason is to get people dependent on chemicals.
Well, yeah.
Fucking pharmaceutical chemicals. That's
It's a
all it is.
slave. They want to enslave us. We're already slaves, but they're trying to slave us even further, especially people that are waking up. And as far as like the vaccine thing, what's really fucked up, like I'm really grateful for you to be speaking out, but you're like the fifth person that I've talked to that's been in the military that's told me about their vaccine reactions, and three of those people didn't even know my stance. They were trying to warn me, But a lot of people I know in the military too are afraid to speak out because they get so sick that the only way they can survive is their benefits, and they're afraid of losing their benefits, so they're not going to speak out. That's the only way they can support themselves and their family because they're too sick to work or do anything else. It's twisted, man. It's fucking raw. It's so salty. Like, oh, it makes me so mad.
And just check out the VA healthcare facilities. I don't know what they're like all over the country. I don't want to badmouth my local VA healthcare facility, but I just got to say, like, yeah, that's fucking socialized medicine. That's what you all want to get, what you Beto supporters are fucking chanting for, and, Bernie supporters and all this fucking single health care, whatever. Look at the VA healthcare facility, see how that's ran. That's nothing but a fucking government bureaucracy with their hands and what kind of medication you can get,
Yeah.
Well, this is out of network coverage, so you're fucked, even though that's the only thing that can keep you alive,
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, these people that.
Or stuff, take this and they're shoving, like, and for a while, dude, that VA was just giving us opiates, like
What?
Vicodins. Yeah, like
What?
10 milligrams. Dude, I was getting, like, prescribed 90 10-milligram Vicodins a month. 90. Yeah, that was a pretty fun month.
Wow. Yeah, they want you addicted though.
Yeah, I just
They want you addicted. They want people addicted. They want them. You know, we talked. You were teasing me. You were bagging on me about being from California and bringing all this mess to Texas. But you know, a lot of these people too. They're just delusional, and I think the drugging of our population has to do with it. Whether it's opiates, huh?
That's the eugenics movement.
What?
That's part of the eugenics movement.
Yeah.
Getting local hooked and some kind of chemical dependent, you know.
But you're in drugs. You're chemically dependent, whether it's recreationally or via prescription. You're not in your right mind, so you're easily brainwashed. I'm sorry. You're easily led astray. You're not. You know, you don't have clear thinking. You're like these people like that want the shit that are like following Beto behind, like, you know, the Pied Piper of Hamelin. They're fucking like zombies. They're literally zombies. You know, and add to that the school system, you know, so you get these kids, you just start them young, get them on Ritalin, get them addicted to something like that. They get older, they might move to meth or heroin or something like that. Then, you know, get them, you know, watching with the TV that they watch and the alpha waves that go into their brain, and then get them, you know.
Aren't outside that much, so like getting this fucking beautiful sun and stuff like that. People don't get this vitamin D coming in, this natural shit, you know.
There's these kids that play outside, and I'm just like, oh my God, kids don't play outside anymore. I went and told them, I was just like, wow, it's so good to see your guys playing ball, riding a bike, skating, running in a circle, like instead of home just playing video games. And I don't have an issue with video games. You know, they're fun, but I mean, you need to get outside and like get some muscle. Get some, you know, scrape your knee. And, you know, there are people that are grown-ass people that have been playing video games. They don't go outside they've never fallen down. So now you have these, like, really frigid adults that, you know, you look at them the wrong way and they cry like microaggression and they, like, curl up into a ball. You know?
Yeah. That's our generation, I'm telling you.
Man, I'm not like that.
Fragile.
But that's sad, right? But I'm saying, this is all the social engineering. Add to that drugs, add to that vaccines, all that stuff that makes people the way they are, and then you get loyal followers of Beto. You know?
I don't know what that is.
No, loyal followers of Beto. I said Beto. Beto. You get these.
That's
sing his name wrong.
The only reason why people like Beto or Beto, whatever, is Robert.
Bob. Just call him fucking Bob. He's Bob.
Yeah, Bobby. The only reason why people like Bobby is just because he's being hip and being promoted through the counterculture, the hipster scene.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, but no politician should be wearing fucking skinny jeans. You're not getting my vote.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
Ride a skateboard.
40 years old and skinny jeans.
That's gross. But the thing that pisses me off too, you know, he's running on points like, you know, kids in cages. I was like, don't you research? How are they still pushing this kids in cages shit? Like, seriously, you know, they're just pushing lies. Like, this stuff that's easily provable. But people that are just so in their own little disconnected world won't even bother to look out. And they think that, you know, kids are still just being grabbed and put in cages. And they don't know the whole story behind it.
It sound like we had millions of children along the southern border just fucking held up in the camps. When you come to find out really what it is, it's like 1,200 kids, you know.
In the Obama administration?
No, they were being used as bait and there's an excuse to get into America.
Yeah, by cartel people.
Facilities that are way better than college dorms.
Yeah. I know, but they're, you know, they're dramatic. I don't know. I mean, this 2020, man, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, I didn't vote last election, but I'm gonna vote this election. I think there are more people actually that are gonna vote for Trump than didn't vote for Trump, especially with the whole walk away and the Brexit stuff.
Oh yeah, the walk away movement's fucking exploding right now.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? It's like, they're doing it to themselves. Trump doesn't really need to convince nobody, nothing else from here on out.
Yeah.
He just has to sit back and let the Democratic Party destroy itself.
Yeah.
You know, look at their candidates. What are they bringing to the table, really, right now?
Dude, it's like Hunger Games. I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome. They're gonna like eat each other up.
Yeah.
It is. I'm just gonna be like.
They're already starting to, you know.
So I mean, but I'm not gonna be apathetic and arrogant. I'm still gonna go out and vote. And you know they're gonna try and cheat. You know they're gonna try and rig the machine. Is my camera on? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we were talking about some serious stuff. So obviously, the veil came and shut us down. So we had to start over. But the last thing you said was the walkover. That's a nice flag, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I've had this for 12 years.
I want that flag. I like the nicely just sewn, detailed. Like that's a lot of work put in. Like you can tell by how it's sewn.
Oh yeah. So not many flags are individually stitched. Each star.
Yeah, I see.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice. Come over your house and steal that. Yeah. If it's gone, you know I took it.
How good quality is this camera? You picking up the stitching on that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Good flag. Anyway, you were talking about the walkaway movement is exploding.
Yeah, it is. And they are doing it to themselves, the Democrats. You know, the more you see these people throwing these temper tantrums, like what I seen not too long ago in Austin, you know, like just think, if you're someone on the fence, right? Should I support Trump? Should I not? What should I do? And you're walking down the city and you see this dude just flipping out like...
Oh, yeah, tell them. You didn't say that. We talked about that off camera. We weren't recording when you were telling me that story.
Oh.
You're Austin?
Yeah.
You saw that dude?
Yeah, so some douchebag in Austin just, when I was walking down the street, he was screaming like, F Trump epithets, stuff like that. Cursing Trump out, and the way how he was behaving, like, he had no shirt on, he had no shoes on, he was filthy, he had words written on him. I couldn't quite read exactly what his protesting shit was. It meant nothing to me because that guy looked like he was homeless, homeless and on his medication. And when you see people like that, though, it just makes you think of like, if I wasn't supporting Trump, that kind of made me want to support him even more now,
Yeah. Yeah, right? Like
that's the... No, go on.
No, go ahead. And that's
the whole way how I kind of got caught up with supporting Trump is funny because everybody hated Trump. When you think about it, the Democrats hate Trump, even the Republicans hate Trump, mainstream media hates Trump, everybody I know hates Trump. That tells me I need to fucking like that guy. I need to get behind him and support him, because when that many people hate someone, it's because that person's speaking truth,
You probably know.
That's the way how I look at it. And I kind of got on board with that. Trump isn't the most elegant president, but he is exactly what the fuck we need.
He's not a politician, though.
Yo, straight up, Donald Trump is punk rock. I'll fight anybody who disagrees with me on that.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a fucking punk rock president. He's not part of the establishment. He's an outsider. He does not give a shit what anybody says. You can't control him to make him say this or that or anything else.
Yeah.
The dude's legit. He's a baller, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, it's funny because even my friend that's not into politics, and she hasn't been following it, and she was like, I saw this video the other day of Trump just going off on the media. She was like, I love it. He's like, no, you, next. Okay, what up? Mm-hmm, okay, well, you know what I mean? He's just like... And he's funny. He's funny. Like, he has a sense of humor. Like, I didn't realize how funny he was until I start watching... some of his clips, and then people were saying, oh, he's mean, he's this and that. I was like, can't you tell that he's just clowning people?
Well, look at how the media's treated him for the past 4 years, okay? Yeah. The shit that they said about him, accused him of, strip fucking lied about. And they still pushed the Russian collusion, Fucking Ricky Maddow
not, you know what he
Rachel
likes.
Maddow.
Yeah, whatever that fucking thing is. It's still like we have to get on board with her conspiracy theories, but yet you won't even raise a flag to the shit that we're bringing up.
Yeah.
The legit stuff going, like the shit that you insist Sandy Hook really happened, and how dare us question you for questioning your fucking
Lies and
narrative.
yeah. Yeah, I know.
Fuck her.
It's ridiculous, you know. We had the pleasure of interviewing Jim Mars before he died a few years ago. Do you know who he is?
No, I heard the
He
name.
Okay, so he was one of the original reporters that was on the scene. I'm tingling my hair too. Of the original reporters that was on the scene for when Kennedy was assassinated. So, and Oliver Stone used his book Crossfire. So he's done like deep investigation. I would say he's like the Wolfgang Habig. I don't know how to say the name of
How big?
Halbig of the JFK assassination. So he's just done years, and I mean he's investigated other things. He's an investigative reporter, but one of his passions was the JFK assassination, and he did tons of interviews. And this is when reporters actually like went out and talked to people and like did footwork, right, instead of just like searching the internet. So Oliver Stone actually used his book Crossfire as a reference to write JFK. So he's like world renowned, and we interviewed him, and what he was saying that when he was talking about Kennedy, it was pretty much the same stuff, right? Where he would just say, he would go out to places and people would get like offended and say that was inappropriate to talk about, the government killing Kennedy. And, he had to fight a lot of people for that. And he was shunned a lot because of that. But, he was saying stuff like, the gun, like he was making connections, like the gun that Kennedy was shot with was this like Italian model gun, and he said that they named it the humane gun because it was so awful at like shooting things on target. So he, just from his knowledge of guns, he knew that there was something fishy about the official story.
Yeah. I never
and
really
how
got much into the Kennedy whole, I just know that there's enough to question the narrative. So
yeah, exactly. But
I'm at
basically,
that point where I don't believe anything. Anything the government says, the official story, I don't believe it at all.
yeah, well, and they've earned that, you know what I mean? And I think that the onus is on them to get if they want us to believe them, the onus is on them to get our trust back because they've lost it so many times.
What I want to see is this. I want to see disclosure from this government, and I'm not talking about disclosure from this whole Russian investigation thing. No, I mean complete disclosure, where the government goes in and acknowledges about these USAPs, these unacknowledged special access programs, like the anti-gravity aircraft that we have. People like There's probably one thing you've seen a lot of videos on called the TR-3B, which is a big floating triangle. It's a UFO, and it just doesn't really do nothing but just floats, and it like disappears and shit. But it's people always call in saying it's a UFO, but it's not. What it really is, it's an experimental governmental aircraft where they're able to reduce gravity something like 89%.
That's crazy. No, I haven't heard of those. I mean, I don't think that there's ever going to be disclosure. I just think that we're just going to have to we can find this information out ourselves, but I just don't expect them to give it to us. I'm not relying on them for anything. I feel like there are already people that are whistleblowing.
Stop killing us for fucking exposing it.
Huh?
They should just stop like killing us for exposing it.
Well, I mean, but there are more of us than there is of them, though, too, because we're still relying on the slave masters to set us free. You see what I'm saying? So I mean, it's up to us to, figure stuff out ourselves. Like with the whole Sandy Hook thing, I mean, I don't need people to tell me that it was bullshit and that, I'm not. But the thing is, I'm not going to let people make me feel like stupid or crazy for questioning it. Well, there are people that will. Like, they'll fall into line because they're so afraid of getting, outcast or shunned for having a different opinion, and we just need to stop doing this shit. We
Yeah,
need
just
to be
answer
like,
questions then.
huh?
Just answer these simple questions.
Yeah, like answer questions, and then we'll stop. Oh, but you can't do that. Okay, then I don't believe you.
Yeah.
And you've already proven yourself to be a liar. You've lied. I've had friends that have gotten beaten up for being Trump supporters. I got a friend who's a reporter who got shit put in his drink, for being a Trump supporter at a bar.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
That
people
shit
getting their
right
car
there only.
scratched.
Yeah, that shit right there only creates more Trump supporters. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
If that happened in, like, say, a local restaurant, you remember that one video that's going around, pretty famous, about the one dude who, like, takes the Coca-Cola and dumps it on some other kid in the restaurant.
No, I haven't seen that one. He dumps
You
it on.
really? Yeah, dude, I'm sure you have. It's a real famous video. There's some dude, like, I think you're in a Whataburger, and some teenagers were wearing, like, a MAGA hat, and some other anti-Trump nut job walks up, grabs the hat off the kid's head, and fucking dumps the Coca-Cola on him.
Dude, I mean, I'm still about the left-right paradigm. I know about that. But I wouldn't say that I'm like a Republican, but I mean, shit like, yeah, I'm a Trump supporter because of that. You know what I mean? Because of shit like that. I wasn't initially, but because of, and the way that people are acting, like, I was telling somebody, my brother and I aren't on really good terms, but he's just taking it so out of hand, like, that he's making me turn the other way because he's so intolerant. And these people that are claiming to be very tolerant and very, very, like,
Tolerant.
accepting, or like the people that are the least so. And I didn't even care if, I had people that supported Hillary or were leftists. I just thought they were getting wrong information and that they were being silly. But I never would be like, oh, they're mentally ill. I can't associate with them. I can't be their friend anymore. I have to disown them. And that's how the other side is being.
Just look at how Trump supporters treat people with opposing views,
Yeah.
And then look at the whole situation vice versa. Like, Trump supporters, they're likely to sit down and engage in conversation. If you agree to disagree, then that happens as well, But you don't see Trump supporters getting petty and shit like that,
Yeah.
doxing people, fucking tracking them down, beating their asses in public. Did you see that video last week about that one chick she was flipping out on some Orthodox Jewish guy in, like, Manhattan or something, calling him a Nazi because he had a MAGA hat on?
No. He's like, I'm Jewish. What are you talking about?
He had a yarmulke on underneath of his MAGA hat, and this woman's calling him a Nazi because he's got a MAGA hat on. Apparently, MAGA hat means it's a fucking new swastika nowadays.
Yeah, I bought one, but I wouldn't wear one in Austin because I wouldn't want to get in a fist fight,
Yeah, dude, it's pretty sad. People would attack you over your beliefs.
And it's just like, even when I was driving Lyft, people assume that I'm not a Trump supporter because I'm black and I'm a woman, and I had this, like, frohawk thing going on, but I went to some rally a couple of years ago, and I wasn't wearing any paraphernalia, and as there were protesters there, and as I'm walking up through it, people were really nice and friendly, and when I got to the other side of the park, they saw me talking with people that were Trump supporters, just talking with them, okay? When I turned back to go the way they came, they all, like, joined hands and fucking, like, wouldn't let me out. Because I was talking to them.
That's like kidnapping.
Yeah, I stepped over them, and they were like, don't touch us, you can't, you're hurting us. I was like, get the fuck, you guys are crazy. You guys are maniacs.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, like, they do petty shit like this, and they keep doing it over and over and over, and nothing happens.
Yeah,
Eventually,
and nobody's getting held accountable, and somebody's gonna fuck with the wrong person.
One day, they're going to get someone who's off their fucking meds that just completely pops off at one of those events,
Yeah.
And what are you going to want to do then? bring another fucking candlelight vigil or a candlelit vigil
No,
awareness
they're just gonna
night.
ignore all the stuff that they've done in the past, and they're gonna blame it on the Trumps for. They're just gonna be like, see, they're violent.
Yeah,
Like
it's
I
Trump's
got
fault.
this on tape. Oh, I got this on tape. I went, and this is when this first started. I went and I went down to the Capitol to just talk to some people. I wanted to get their views on the opposing side. And I start talking to this guy, and then I was asking him questions, and he would tell me stuff. I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because of this, and how about this? And then he's like, what are your political beliefs? And I was like, I don't know. I guess I'm more of like a libertarian. And he's like, yeah, I can't talk to you anymore. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, I can't talk to you. And I was like, well, why? And then his friend comes up to me and just starts blowing. Oh, by the way, he was dressed in a fucking unicorn onesie like a little bitch. Like, what adult man dresses in
When
a
he's saying he
onesie?
can't talk to you, he really means, honestly, like, I'm not capable of having a
Yeah, he
conversation
can't.
with you.
So he walked away, and I was like, well, why? Why? I'm like, I just want to get your perspective. I'm a citizen journalist, and, I'm just really curious as to why you're so, like, because this doesn't make sense. And his friend comes up to me, he starts blowing his whistle in my face. Just blowing
Yeah,
it like a kid, right? But
yeah, that's so fucking
this guy was dressed like a fucking unicorn, okay?
petty.
And didn't like have his face covered. And then I took his witch, I fucking snatched it and I wrapped it around my hand. So then they start crying. They're like, "What are you doing to us?" They called the cops. And the cops had to make me let it go. And these guys are like bigger than me. I'm like 5'7". These guys are like towering over me, or they're horizontally bigger than me. You know. And they're like crying, like, because I snatched their whistle after they were blowing it in my face. Okay. I hate
Yeah,
you.
they're
I'm supporting
pretty
Trump
fucking
now. I'm
petty.
supporting Trump.
Yeah,
Like,
realistically, that's like the way how people are going over from the walk away movement to your average run of the fucking mill, like you're centrist, right?
mm-hmm.
People who voted for Obama last year or 2 years ago or whatever, you know what the fuck I mean. People who voted for Obama are now voting for Trump. Why is that switch
That's
happening?
me.
Yeah, why is that switch happening? Okay, we can understand why. Like, I've always tended to be conservative, vote conservative Republican lines, and a lot of people don't step away from their, how they're brought up. They're orthodox. You, for example, you stepping away, you walking away, the whole fucking going from left to right. They try to, like, I notice that they say that the walk away movement isn't a thing, isn't happening, but I keep seeing a shit ton of videos all the time on YouTube.
I can binge watch those things for days. I don't even need to
Yeah.
watch TV. They're so interesting. They're so cool.
And when you go to like
Yeah.
these rallies and you go to these events and you see the way how people are being treated by these anti-Trumpers, that should just fucking ring a bell, right? That this is why that's happening, okay? You're victimizing one whole group of the population that's only going to continue to get more support for that group. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because, well, you've got nothing to bring to the fucking table. You
Yeah.
can't debate them on what Trump's actually doing for the country. You can't debate him on what he's done for jobs, the employment, the GDP being at like 4.0 or some shit like that. All this great, wonderful stuff they can't bring up and go against. So they have to focus on this crap like, now it's his taxes, you know. Well, we found there's no Russian collusion, so we've got to get him on now. Well, let's focus on his taxes. That's going to be the next 2 fucking years, is Trump's taxes.
But didn't they already got him? Rachel Maddow already like got his taxes, and then they found that she paid more. Remember they had that thing where they were like, "Oh, we got his tax returns and we're gonna show them on air," and then she ended up getting moted.
Yeah, but that was probably his tax returns for a couple of years ago. They want to see the new ones and this and
Oh my
that.
god, for real.
Yeah, they've got nothing to go on.
Yeah, well,
Meanwhile,
just
Trump
let him
is
do it though,
supposed.
because they're just digging themselves a deeper hole. But go on.
Yeah, and Trump is the most vindicated president in history. Okay, I'm telling you right now, Trump could not do anything wrong without the media blowing it out of proportion, without it being on the news 24/7. You know,
Yeah.
it would be nonstop breaking news. Trump did this, breaking news.
And
Trump did
plus,
that.
and plus, some people that I know, like my mom, she's kind of sort of into politics. She just votes and just looks, I voted, but she respects me for my opinion. But even somebody like her, she's just like, I'm so sick of like the news talking about Trump too. Like they're just people that are just, they're like, come on, can we talk about any other shit? Like it's
Yeah,
only
that's when they
about Trump.
start nitpicking on Melania Trump. Can you believe she wore this? Can you believe she had this? What the fuck?
Like
She's a
God,
goddamn hot first lady, dude.
huh?
Melania Trump, she's a gorgeous first lady.
Yeah, totally. She speaks like 4 languages or 5 languages and stuff. Like, come on. Come on. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
these people, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess we should start wrapping up, but I just want to, since we started this conversation about vaccines, like what, what advice do you have to people that still kind of have faith in vaccines? What advice do you have to people that are going into the military?
You're fucked. Yeah, if you're going into the military, you have to get them. Well, I don't know. Like, I haven't been in the military in like almost 15 years, so a lot's changed.
Did you like it? I meant to ask. There has to be some good parts from the military.
Yeah. Actually, I got kicked out of the army. That's a different story for.
Oh shit, that's another interview.
Yeah, I mean, I partied a lot. I mean, the military is nothing but fucking like the college lifestyle, especially when you're living in a barracks. That's like a college dorm right there.
Yeah. Male bonding, though. I kind of think,
Yeah.
too, people really get into the military because the way our society is now, we don't really have, like, rites of passage, Like, I think as human beings, we all kind of had those before we had the modern society. They had some kind of rites of passage, and you have I don't know. I mean, I'm saying this as an outsider. I'm saying this also as I was in the cadet corps for 3 years when I was in junior high, and I thought about being in the military until we had a field trip and they left us up for a week with these fucking crazy ass 16-year-olds, and I hate being told what to do. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I like the military. I don't think I like getting bossed around. But I also saw the camaraderie and the teamwork and I can see how that can be very addicting too. And I love marching because I like singing. So I love the lift,
I knew from a very
lift.
young
Like that was
age
fun.
I was going to be a soldier. I knew when I was a little boy because when I was a kid, when you go out and playing with all your other friends, is what we're doing was playing war, playing GI Joe, shit like that.
Yeah.
And so I knew I was going to be a soldier or a Marine or something. I ended up picking at first I joined the National Guard. Then I went active duty full-time Army and got stationed down here in Texas. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. I loved it a little bit too much. I was just a soldier, but I partied like a rock star. I got myself into trouble, but no regrets.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's But along with that lifestyle, you have to realize, hey, you know what? You're going to essentially become a guinea pig for Uncle Sam. Okay, they test out flu vaccine, like the new round of flu vaccines. We started getting these in the army where they weren't actual needles injections. They were like they snorted up your nose.
Yeah. The inhaled ones. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Flu
shit that
mist.
got me deathly sick though. When you get that, it gives you the flu literally the next day. So what's the point? But they're going to make you take, and especially if you want to go overseas, if you want to go to different countries, they're going to make you take vaccines. Well, didn't they make you take vaccine? You went to China, right? Don't you have to have certain ones to go there?
I lived in Taiwan. They recommend that you have certain vaccines. I didn't take them. They tested my titers though, because when I got there, I didn't have my shots done when I got there. They're like, well, we'll just test your titers, and if your titers are okay, then you don't have to do it again. I was like, sweet.
It seems like it's the vaccine or people with autism are linked to vaccines that are made in America, like Merck and shit like that. I wonder if like the vaccines in other countries, like in Mexico, are any safer.
Nope.
No?
No, they're all bad.
Damn.
They're all bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of against it now, especially like I've been going down this rabbit hole for a minute, and I'm seeing the way how the government and especially the CDC is pushing vaccines on us so much. It's so like every time I go to a doctor, they ask me if I've had this vaccine, have I been vaccinated recently, have I gotten this and that, and that shit didn't happen before. 10, 15 years ago, the doctors weren't always asking me if I had this vaccine, but now they are.
Well, the pharmaceutical industries control the medical school. So a lot of them, they're just kind of agents without even realizing it, right? Like they're brainwashed. So they think they're doing good. But I think now because a lot of people are questioning them, they're getting kind of ornery and pushing back as well, you know? And, they're required, from higher ups to push vaccines. Um, so I think that,
They gotta demonize anyone who just has wrong think when it comes to
yeah,
vaccines.
exactly. And
Yeah.
I even, because some of these vaccine groups, you have people that are doctors and nurses.
Yeah, I
And
know. What's up with that too? When you've got actual fucking scientists saying like, "Yo, this needs to be looked into,"
because
and we're not doing
it's a eugenics agenda, like you called it. You're right.
it. Yeah.
Because, we had a nurse, or there was a nurse that was in, I forgot what group it was in, but he was saying that, like, that with the vaccines, a lot of the parents that don't want to vaccinate their kids, they're ordered to make it hard for them and put them through a lot of stress and trauma. So
Yeah. Well, you know what?
so like to punish them, basically,
You know
and to make
what?
them feel bad for not vaccinating their baby.
I see what my sister goes through on a daily basis. Okay. I mean, I live here with my 10-year-old nephew who's got autism pretty fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And it just makes me think if I'm going to have kids, I am so much at risk of having my offspring being like that. Why do I want to bring that into this world now? Because, like, from what I see, autism seems to be pretty fucking painful. Like, having a migraine sometimes, you
Yeah,
know?
and you can't talk about it. You can't even tell people what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's the low end of the spectrum. But even the people at the high end of the spectrum, like Rain Man, that can like memorize the phone book and shit.
Well,
They
he's high
still.
functioning.
Oh, he's high functioning.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
He
he can.
memorizes sports teams and shit like that.
But still, okay. Okay, yeah. So I guess my point though, even because there's this whole thing too where they're trying to normalize it, and they've created this thing called neurodiversity.
Oh, yeah, like the new puppet on the Muppet Babies.
Yeah, like fuck that
That-
shit. Like they're not gonna show. You know what I mean? Because they're. Oh my god! I just realized since we start talking, my mic. I hope it's not affecting the conversation that much. Damn it, my mic was all the way over there. They're not going to show the meltdowns, right? They're not going to show the discrimination that they face when they go in public. They're not going to show the Muppet wearing feces on their faces, or the migraines, like you said, or the gastrointestinal issues, and they're not
yeah.
going to show all the other stuff that goes with it.
Yeah, or like when my nephew comes along and starts fucking humping the back of your head and shit like that.
Yeah.
Put that on
How
the
old is
Muppet
he?
Baby.
14, 13?
No, he's 10.
Okay, but he's but yeah, two of my friends whose kids are autistic and they're nonverbal. Um, they're men. They're teenagers. They're boys, so
Yeah.
they get horny. So it's not, and they're kind of freaking out because, of course, knowing how bad the hospital systems are and stuff, they don't want to and have their sons committed. But
Yeah,
like,
I
what is that gonna, huh?
This drives me crazy too. Like, what do I do about this?
Like what, but
Yeah.
it's kind of, you're like, oh yeah, they have, they're human beings and they have, intrinsic needs because they're men and they're going through puberty. But, like, my friend's son, It was kind of funny. I had a party. She has this really nice house, and I had a party at her house like a couple of years ago. And her son, I guess, cornered one of my friends and like whipped his penis out and started like masturbating and was trying to get her to touch it. And my friend was like freaked out. And it's interesting though too, because my friend, actually, she's autistic. She was pretty high functioning, and she was able to cure herself and reverse it through herbs and stuff as she got older. But basically, he just started like trying to, because he's a 13-year-old boy, and he's just like, I'm horny. And it was just like, I know, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, I was just like, wow, like, and she told me, and she didn't want to tell the mom. I was like, well, no, you need to tell the mom. And I told her, because I'm like, they're trying to get him to not do that, and they're trying to get him to understand what's rude and what's appropriate and what's not.
Yeah.
But then I was like, damn, I guess he doesn't like black girls because he never did that shit to me. It's like, he's not digging his sisters. Okay, I get it, whatever. I was just making a joke out of it. But at the same time, I mean, what are we going to do with this population that's like that? When they're 40 years old doing that stuff, it's not funny. It's not cute,
Well, I think that they'll be going into forced sterilization at some point,
I did stock at Banana Republic one summer. I worked with a guy he was high functioning autistic, and he had to be forced sterilized because he had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
He got 2 girls. He was an adult, but he was high functioning enough to like, he was a flirt. He was a flirt. He loved women. Yeah. Like, I would come and work with him, and they would just separate stuff, that was like their job. And I'd be like, and he'd come up to me, he'd be like, hi. I was like, is this guy flirting with me? And they're like, oh yeah, Chris is like a ladies' man. He already has 2 kids. I was like, he has 2 kids? Yeah, he was always flirting. He's like, yeah, women. Like, it was funny. It was just, but you can't stop those instincts. And it's, kind of just going back before we wrap up to the SJW situation, where they're trying to like, say that, like, that people's genders are given to them, and I'm like, no. That's some, like how they're trying to manipulate this whole like gender identity stuff and saying that.
All that stuff is, I think, again, is being done deliberately to confuse the population.
Oh, totally. But I mean, but I'm just also thinking about like people that can't even comprehend that stuff. That kind of manipulation, that autistic. Like my friend's son doesn't know anything about that, but yet he sees a woman and he's just like, woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there are just certain instincts that we have as human beings that can't be denied. And you can't,
Oh yeah. And what's fucked up too is like, they grow up to be just normal, like adults. They'll have that normal adult strength.
Yeah.
I used to call it retard strength. I know that's a little taboo.
I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Don't put that in here.
No, it's going in. People just have to get over it. There's no PC on this channel.
But dude, yeah, it's like, when autistic children have a fucking strength about them that they don't realize how strong they are. When they go to squeeze your, or like when my nephew comes up and gives you a hug, and then he squeezes the shit out of you.
Yeah, well, the thing is too, but that's another thing that people are freaking, like my friends that have autistic children are freaking out about. My best friend, her son's going on 14. He'll be 14 next week. And she's 5'2", and he's going on almost 6 feet. He's probably going to be over 6 feet because his dad's tall.
Damn.
He's
scary.
Yeah. So he's had a couple meltdowns where he's just accidentally pushed her and has ended up bruising her or hurting her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's getting to a problem, and she's really, really, really worried because, how is this gonna affect her and her children, and when he goes out, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah.
you know, it's
Are you going to be able to handle this?
yeah,
And
what's
it's
gonna
one of those
happen?
things where it completely alters your life.
Yeah,
I watch my sister and how she goes through it, man. And like, fucking, my hat's off to that girl. She's a tough chick.
yeah, yeah,
No, she takes care of a kid on her own. I mean, I help out as an uncle as much as I could, but really, my sister does all this on her own. Takes care of an autistic child by herself, and man, the father's not part of the whole
yeah. And
the
most fathers
problem.
bounce.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's best that the father's not part of the fucking picture anyway. But even if he was, it would be no help. Um, I'm helping out my sister as best as I can with this shit, but even for me, it's too much. I'm
Yeah,
like, I need to bounce for a weekend or two,
yeah,
and yeah, at least I kind of got that going on. Like, I can always split and take off if I want to. But I
yeah.
think back again to my sister, like, nope, she's stuck with this 24/7,
7, yeah,
and that makes you like really rearrange a lot of things in life.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I just you're airing the week after I put her interview out, but I just interviewed another lady. She's older, but her daughter um, is vaccine injured, and she was basically saying that too. That it just took a lot of rearranging of her life, and it affects the whole
Mhm.
family, not just that one child. And these assholes that come on these message boards and call people child killers for not wanting to get vaccines. There's a special place in hell for fucking people like that. I hate them so much. They're so just
Wait,
I don't,
there's child killers for not wanting their kids vaccinated?
yeah.
Like, I want to know, what are the statistics on that? Like, how many kids have died from not being vaccinated
They're
in
just
America?
but they're just repeating sound bites, and they're of the belief
Yeah.
that vaccines have cured everything, everything. I had somebody tell me that vaccines cured the plague, and I'm like, the plague, like vaccines weren't invented when the plague
The
was going on,
13th,
dude.
like the 13th century.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like,
So,
they weren't invented until like a century later. So I don't even maybe a couple centuries later. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, come on, there are people that have this mentality that I don't know. They're just really ignorant and really petty and very they're just brainwashed. And you know I had a
from what I
friend.
understand about vaccines, it started with George Washington, didn't it?
Huh?
Didn't vaccines start with George Washington?
They didn't come out. So 1776, right? That was when when was George Washington president? Vaccines didn't come out until almost. It was like the first vaccine that was in England. I don't even think it was in America yet. It was like 1796.
Because I'm pretty sure I seen something on the History Channel about like George Washington like smearing smallpox into other people with smallpox or not yet.
It wasn't around yet.
Man,
It wasn't around yet.
maybe it's the Mandela effect happening right now.
Yeah, I think about that. Yeah, but I swear, I mean, unless he time
Yeah, it's a
traveled
real
and came
movie.
back. I mean, that's the only explanation. He time traveled and came back. But so one thing I was going to say before I wrap, I lost my train of thought. Oh, my friend, I had a friend who's another friend, because I have quite a few parents who have autistic, or tried quite a few friends that have autistic kids. Her son had a meltdown on the freeway and tried to jump out of the car when they were on the
Mm,
freeway when they were going 70 miles per hour. And they were
yeah.
able to get the seatbelt and just kind of pull him back and rep, like, oh, God, imagine.
Yeah, I've had
You
to
know,
wrestle my nephew down quite a few times. He's only
yeah.
10 and he's fucking strong. You know.
Yeah, so anyway, but she posted it because she's a very outspoken advocate about vaccines and a lot of stuff in the autistic community. And um, but basically, she had people coming on her page calling her a whore and a child killer, and saying vaccinate your damn kids. Like,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, she can take it. She's at this point, she's not like, it doesn't hurt her feelings, but these people are fucking from like demons from hell. Like seriously, like they don't even care, you know. That yet they'll be like, oh, polio, measles, but yet you don't care about people getting autism, you know.
Yeah, people are so self-righteous. Like the thing is, everyone has lost control of their ego. No one wants to admit to when they're wrong, you know.
Exactly, that's a huge thing I would say, yeah, about this fight.
And being in a whole conspiracy community, that when you get to that point in your life when you wake up, you know, when you get red pilled or whatever you want to call it, okay, when you wake up and you realize, man, what I thought was this was really that. You know, everything's a fucking lie. The further down that rabbit hole you go, the more you start realizing you were wrong about shit. Okay?
Yeah.
It takes a stronger person to admit to being wrong,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and changing course and going, you know, than it does for someone to just dig in their heels and continue to arguing over the same fucking 5 verses in the Bible, or arguing over this piece of fucking land here and this, you know, or
Yeah,
what, yeah, all that shit. We're arguing over stupid, useless things right now. And we could all, like, I think the nations in this world, we could put our resources together. We can achieve a whole lot more than what we've got right now.
oh, totally. If we didn't have their egos in the way, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's all ego right now. That's what's going to kill humanity. The reason why humanity's going to die is because of our fucking ego.
Right, right. And it's so simple. It's so simple, it's hard. It's so simple, it's hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I got to get going. But thank you so much for coming, Greg White, you guys.
Thanks for letting me get my story out there.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of off the walls, and I was back and forth. And
no, but this is great. I love going on tangents with people. I do, because you learn a lot of stuff, and I always, you know, it's always good conversations, and it's people aren't going to, or very few people are going to look at this interview and they're like, oh, I can't believe that they didn't only talk about vaccines. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I touched on Sandy Hook. I wanted to talk about Sandy Hook for a minute, you know, because that was important to me. That was what got me awake, you know, and from then on, you know, it was straight down. I did a fucking swan dive down the rabbit hole.
Well, I think too, once you people, like, there's a core, and then there are different holes that come in this way, and people kind of enter in through different sides. So mine was vaccines, right? But then once I started going that, then when Sandy Hook happened, though, I already knew how the government lied and manipulated things, so I was open to that. And then I saw the fact that they were like, oh, an autistic kid did this. I was like, there's no fucking way in hell that happens. You know?
Yeah.
There's no way.
On. Dude, like they're strong. Like, autistic kids are fucking strong as hell, but they do not have fine motor skills.
Yeah, exactly. Fine motor skills, and plus the noise of the guns going off. They'd have to plan everything.
Adam Lanza had like a 98% hit point average accuracy, whatever. 98% of the bullets hit the fucking targets. Come on, I'm a veteran and I can't even do that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, so it's just, yeah, I know, I'm glad you're awake.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish you can go back to sleep?
There's a lot of us out there.
Do you wish you can go back to, wish you can go back to sleep? Would you take a blue pill for a steak if you could?
It's not possible to do that, though. You know? I mean, like, once you're awake, like, you can't fucking go back. Joe Rogan tries to play it like, oh, I'm not into conspiracies anymore. But once you wake up to it, you can't fucking go back to sleep.
Yeah, you can pretend you are. I've known some people that don't just want to, they don't like the ridicule, and they'd rather...
Always having to defend a position.
Huh?
Or always having to defend a position.
Yeah, but they know. I know they know, and they know, and they have common sense, and they've told me stuff, and then they're like, oh yeah, well, I was wrong about that. Like, they don't like the ridicule, and they, you know, there's some people that kind of bullied into to kind of going back to sleep because of the ridicule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so they're maybe not outspoken with it, and then they'll condemn you, and they'll try and convince themselves that maybe they were wrong, but I don't think you really can. But I think that people that I still consider people like that those that do go back to sleep, because I only think that they only go so far down the rabbit hole. So if you kind of stick your toe in a little bit, you can kind of go back to sleep instead of swan diving. If you swan dive, that's fucking it.
Well,
That's, you know what I mean.
I like to think I'm pretty far down it. You know.
Well, if you're talking about Sandy Hook, you're down. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But there's some people like my brother. He fucking went back to sleep. Like he watched Loose Changed, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, like totally, I believe it." And then like a year later, and he went to Berkeley, by the way. So I have my thoughts about that whole situation there. I think there's a
You
lot
think
of
it was MK Ultra?
not maybe on a mass scale, but I mean I think there is some kind of mind control stuff going on in that area. I do.
It was indoctrinated.
Indoctrinated, I think it's possible there's other stuff going on, like energetically, if you want to get into that. But I don't have time to get into that. But I think that that's part of it. I also think he's very prideful, a prideful person. I think there are also a lot of, another way to manipulate
There goes
these
that ego again.
Yeah, the ego, and I also think there are a lot of college kids that are being put on antidepressants. Kind of that whole combination of. Plus, when you go to like the Ivy League students are like the worst because they're taught that they're better than everybody else and that they can't be wrong. So, how dare you question an Ivy League person? Oh no, I know fake news. I can tell fake news because I went to college. Like nobody can lie to me. I'm smart, So I think there's a lot of that going on. But what was I talking about? Fuck, I went on another tangent. We were supposed to wrap up, and then we went on a tangent, and you're talking about Sandy Hook, and going back to sleep. So then later we were talking about it, and he's like, oh yeah, I don't believe that anymore. I saw some other footage, and I saw some other scientific, things that convinced me that, 9/11 actually, was not an inside job. And then, well, then you're like, I'm like, all right.
If you go back to sleep, I don't think it's possible. I think that seed's still in the back of his mind. He might just be like saying that, I guess, so they don't have to really dive deeper down the hole, have to ask and answer more questions.
Yeah, he's I think he'd stuck his toe in.
Yeah.
I don't think he, because I was telling people to, the last person I interviewed today, the more you know about vaccines, you can't be bullied into it. Because even when I was still kind of questioning vaccines, I was bullied into taking a tetanus shot, and at the time I didn't know half the information that I know now. Had I known what I know now, there's no fucking way I would have even taken it.
I want to know, why is Bill Gates interested in vaccines?
Because he's a eugenicist. His
Exactly.
dad was ran Planned Parenthood for a while.
Yeah.
That's eugenics operation. Yeah, he even said it. He said it on an interview that his dad. But he tried to sound all philanthropic and shit. He was like, my dad ran Planned Parenthood, and like for a while, and this is just really important to me, and HCG, a component that's known to sterilize people, that's not even component vaccines, has been found in at least seven countries, where he's pushed vaccine programs. So I don't think it's an accident. Like, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I do know that. First off, like, everything that we're doing to ourselves, it's not just the vaccines.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
It's in our food. Our food is fucking laced with the GMO bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Baby sprinkles and shit.
Even our clothing, the cotton that we wear is laced with some fucking shit that's irritating to the skin. But everything we're trying to do is lower the male sperm count, make the woman less fertile.
Mm-hmm.
That way, like, it won't be a rapid onset thing, but eventually every generation is going to produce less and less kids until they get down to that 500 million mark that they've got written on the Georgia Guidestones.
Exactly. That's it's like Children of Men.
Yeah, but see, the thing is,
have you seen the movie? It was a book.
I have it.
Yeah, it's they made a movie. It was a book, and they made a movie out of it. But basically,
but that was like something biblical that caused that, though. They didn't say what happened.
No. I think it was because of like pollution and shit like that. But basically, the population is sterile, and people can't
That was
have
a good
babies.
fucking movie, yeah.
And the baby, yeah, people can't have the babies anymore, except that
Yeah,
one woman has a baby.
yeah, that's right. She had the baby in the middle of the battlefield, and the baby's crying. Soldiers stopped fighting, and they
Yeah,
like bound
that was a
them.
great scene. That was a beautiful
Yeah,
scene. They're like,
yeah, very
baby.
symbolic. A lot of
Yeah.
fucking symbolism. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I'm
All
getting
right.
hungry.
Oh, now you're getting those. Yeah, I know. We were supposed to wrap up like an hour ago, so it's probably this is going to be an hour and 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's usually about how long the interviews go anyway. So
Yeah.
anyway, Greg, thank you so much for reaching out, and
All right,
thanks for
thanks for
support.
having
Yeah,
me.
keep in touch, and bye, guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Right.